Hello, peeps. Welcome to the Culture and People Cast. Today we have Lee Smiley. Lee, in a few sentences, would you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Lee Smiley. I'm Director of Human Resources at QSR Automations, which is a leader in the restaurant and hospitality software space. We do a lot of kitchen management software and a lot of integrations with other people in that space. I'm also an instructor at the University of Louisville, where I teach career development for the College of Business. I'm Director of Marketing and Communications for the local SHRM chapter here in Louisville. And aside from that, in the little bit of spare time I get, I'm also a writer, a foodie, a photographer. I do all sorts of things: a cat dad, a human dad, a husband. I stay pretty busy.
Oh my goodness, I got to see your cat before we recorded, guys. The cat had to do the walk and make himself known. I think it's adorable.
Yeah. She likes to be on camera. She's kind of a ham.
Yeah, I love it, Lee. So you've been doing this work in so many capacities around culture and people for a while. What is your favorite aspect of this work?
I've always been a fixer. I just love fixing things. When I originally went to college for undergrad, I wanted to be a psychology major because I wanted to help fix people. I just drifted more into the business space. And now, I still get to fix people, but on an organizational level, on a professional level. So, being able to go into an organization and see a team dynamic that needs improvement, that needs work, and being able to get people to change the way they think about working together, to change the way they think about collaboration and teamwork is just probably my favorite thing about this job. It's just going in and helping people realize that the sum of the whole is greater than the parts, and realizing that synergy that comes with just working together in a really strong team dynamic.
Yeah, some of the whole is greater than sparks. I love that, Lee. So, one of the things I'm hearing a lot lately from employers and leaders is just engaging their talent is a challenge, right? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, engaging talent is super, super challenging right now. Even pre-COVID, it was difficult, but the pandemic has just made it that much harder because this is an unprecedented time. We've never dealt with anything like this. So our employees are stumped as far as how to proceed. Our leadership is stumped about how to proceed. And, people are complex. They have different needs and different wants, and people are reacting differently to the pandemic. So they're worried, they're bored, they're bombarded with information from all sides. There's so much division currently going on. And, people still crave that connection that comes with being around people. Even those of us who are a little more on the introverted side of the scale still miss being around people and having the option of going and being around people that they enjoy spending time with. So, there's a lot of additional challenges that we've never really even seen before because this pandemic has just upended everything for the entire planet. So, engagement is definitely challenging. Keeping people focused on being productive and still contributing to the welfare of their teams, but also taking into account, the need for everybody to take care of themselves, pace themselves properly so that they don't burn out, that they don't feel too disconnected. It's very challenging.
Yes. All right. Kat is making an appearance. We see
Yes.
you, Kitty. Okay.
Yes.
So I completely agree. I think it's, humans, we could say they're always challenging. I think it's always been an opportunity, and it's always been a place that organizations need to do better or different, right? I always say it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Yeah. So let's get really tactical here, Lee. There's somebody out there who's saying like, yes, okay, I want to make sure that we are caring for our employees better. What could they tactically do tomorrow to make a difference in the day?
I think it comes down, people basically need three things. They need something to do, they need something to strive for, and something to believe in. So something to do, they need meaningful work. They need to know that if they're sitting at home in an office and they haven't, been to the grocery store in a year, that they haven't been around their family in a long time, that what they're doing currently is value added. They have to feel like they're contributing something of themselves to the larger cause of the company. They need something to strive for. They still need to know that there's opportunity. They still need to know that there's hope for doing more and for moving their teams in a positive direction and coming out of this stronger than what we went into it. and then something to believe in. They need that shared vision. So there needs to be that constant communication that says, what you're doing is valuable. This is what we're trying to achieve. These are our goals, and this is how you play into it. So, and I think the first step with all that is just listening to people. I mean, if we in leadership listen to what our people are telling us, they're going to tell us what they need and what they want to have those things. And, part of that is, as leadership, we have to evolve the way we do things. We talk in cliche terms about people being our greatest asset, but a lot of times we don't act that way. We don't behave in a way that people feel like an asset to us. They don't feel that important. So more now than ever, our people have to understand that we as leaders care about them and care about their success and care about their well-being. So it's not constantly pushing people to be productive. It's telling people, hey, take some time, pull back a little bit and take care of yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. So there's just so much that goes into providing the right leadership during this difficult time that contributes to helping people get through it.
Yeah, agreed. And not only listening, but then taking action, right? Do Absolutely. Something. We can't, I mean, coming is a big idea, my person myself. You can't always implement all my ideas if I reported into you, but you could build on my ideas. You could reinforce my ideas. You could explain why we can do these, but not these, right? There's always something you could do to make them feel like their ideas are valued too. I love that. Like,
some of the best ideas that and everywhere that I've ever been has come from the lowest echelon of staff. So, we have to take all those into account and really celebrate the ideas that come up that could be of high value to us, and educate for the ones that maybe aren't as valuable as far as why another alternative may be better. So there's so many opportunities to create a positive out of that communication, but it starts with the communication piece. It starts with being able to have that conversation, between the staff and the leadership to say, hey, we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. What do we need to do to be successful?
Yeah. Lee, talking about ideas coming from anywhere in the organization. This is one I heard the other day that I had not heard before. And I fact checked it, so it's cool. Mm-hmm. My daughter tells me lots of things she hears on YouTube. I'm like, but this one was the inventor of the Post-it note. Mm-hmm. It was accidental, first of all. It wasn't intentional. So, right, not all of our things are proactive. Some of them are reactive. He is a person working in 3M, finds this adhesive, doesn't know what to do with it for over 3 years. Have you heard this? Shops it around 3M, doesn't really know what to do with it until finally it occurs to him or others or whoever that they should be putting this in a sticky note. And even then, they had to give sticky notes away for free for years before it caught on. And now think about, I have so many sticky notes on my desk, tiny ones, big ones, that idea, if we give it away, right? If we push it down, that's not a big deal. Let's think about what we could do with that idea. I love it.
It was so successful that I have digital versions on my laptop. That do the same exact thing right now. So
yeah, look at Trello, look at all these other Miro boards that are being made that are mirroring this amazing tool that we have. So 2 more quick questions before I let you go, Lee. First of all, let's shout out other people who are doing some good work in the ring around people and culture, maybe even as a potential guest.
Yeah, being here in Louisville, there's so much going on, in both a positive and a negative light. We've had all sorts of racial tension with the Breonna Taylor case, and there's been, a lot of conversation in the community about how to move forward into a more integrated and peaceful society. So we've got a lot of people here in the community that are leading that, some of which I'm associated with our SHRM chapter here at SHRM. So Raleigh Richardson, our past president, Lisa Johnson, our current chapter president, is also key in that. Dr. Tim Finley, who's another leader in the area for diversity and inclusion. So there's so many people who are leading that conversation here in Louisville. Tiffany Cardwell is another SHRM leader that has really helped keep those conversations going. So there's so many great people here in Louisville that are helping lead that conversation, not just from, how do we get through all this racial tension, but how do we lead others into having these epiphanies about how we perceive race and diversity and inclusion and all the things that go along with that. So there's so many great leaders with the SHRM chapter, with the local chamber here, Greater Louisville Inc. They do more than just what an average chamber of commerce does. They are really, leaders on the social and professional front in the community. The Young Professionals Association of Louisville, the 100 Black Men of Louisville is another organization that I want to call out that just does a lot of great work in mentoring young African Americans in the community. That we're trying to heal this city, just like we're trying to heal the nation, and it starts with people being brave enough to step forward and speak the difficult truths that go along with all this.
Yeah. It's a case for vulnerability and it's a case for action for sure. Yeah. Thanks, Lee. I'm going to include that 100 Black Men of Louisville link for sure. That's a great one. And thanks for the other connections too. We'll make sure those are in the show notes for everybody to follow along with those awesome thought partners. And really the last question here, Lee, is like, what are your favorite resources that have advanced your own thinking around culture and people?
There's just so much out there. It's easy to just sort of get overwhelmed by just the tsunami of information and resources and everything that come in. There's so many classic books from Who Moved My Cheese to Good to Great that just really provide a strong blueprint for being successful in the business space. So many podcasts like yours that are available. So many people reaching out on LinkedIn that share such great content and articles. In places like Harvard Business Review, Morning Brew, and there's several HR newsletters that I follow that really sort of enhance that, from SHRM and from HR Dive is another one that I really enjoy reading on a daily basis. One of the other places that I like to find a lot of inspiration are from histories. I read a lot of history, so books like Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, that the musical was based on, 1776 by David McCullough, Nicholas and Alexandra by Robert K. Massey. There's so many great histories out there that, as soon as you peel back the narrative layer that comes with just the history, provides so many lessons on leadership, so many lessons on building culture, and particularly those first two, Hamilton and 1776, the American identity was built by the people in those books. Right. So our culture, our identity as a nation was formed primarily by a relatively small handful of individuals who were brave enough to take on an empire and create something totally new and experimental that just had never existed and been successful in world history. So there's so many great places that you wouldn't even expect to find lessons in leadership and people and culture. But if you look beneath the surface, they're there.
Yeah, agreed. Those are great resources. And it's been a fun year a couple of years, I guess, since Hamilton came out, for people to be re-engaged in history and what you can learn. And, somebody personally who I didn't get interested in history till later in life. And I'm not sure why that was. I struggled with focus when I was younger. School wasn't my favorite, but I always felt like, I was such a futuristic thinking. I think it's my top strength and StrengthsFinder, right? Futuristic thinking, that it was like, what matters what happened before, right? Let's just go forward. But then as you mature, you're like, oh, it really does matter. Like, let's learn from those lessons. Let's incorporate those, and us also honor what's happened before, like that we are not the inventors of the world, right? We are not, we're pretty much recreating the wheel all the time, right? Borrowing from what happened.
Yeah. Most of the things that happen have precedent in history. So it benefits us as leaders, as culture and people stewards for organizations, to look back at what others have done prior to us, to take from those examples and build upon them, and to not have to invent the wheel, to be able to take the lessons that have already been proven by our forebears and put that into action so that we can move forward and accelerate the pace of progress.
Oh, agreed. Yes. And, really, Lee, thank you for what you're doing for culture and people at work, at QSR, at University of Louisville, at SHRM, all of those organizations, and really just taking time out of your day for this to pay it forward and to hopefully plant some seeds of hope and thought and progress in our people. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Peace and progress, guys.